Congratulations. Today's the big day for your film.
Thank you. Yes, it's been a long time coming. Crazy time to be, releasing a film, but here we are. And it's been, something to hold on to and look forward to for the past 6 months.
But this is also your first feature film. You've done others, but this is your full length.
It is my first feature. Yes, I did 2 shorts before this one. Yeah.
How did it feel? Like this is like your big child.
Yeah, it is a child. Yeah, it's crazy what it really feels like is having a baby, and today my baby turned 18 and is walking out into the world and is going to cause whatever my baby wants to cause, and I have no control over this child anymore. They have a life. It has a life of its own, and and everyone's going to respond to how this child makes them feel out in the world. So yeah, it's weird and cool. I'm excited about it.
Now, Ma Belle, my beauty, you're the writer, you're the director, did you find the inspiration of this story? We don't see this kind of story very often.
No, we don't. And that was key inspiration for me. Yeah, I grew up really loving love stories, everything I was consuming, but specifically cinema. That was kind of what connected me to cinema. I was a hopelessly romantic young person. But there was always something missing in love stories for me, especially when it came to love stories between queer women. I just felt that, they were so often rooted in coming out or in, the trauma of being gay or being queer, and which are all very valid things, but I was interested in kind of exploring nuance and conflict in queer relationships that was not necessarily rooted in, coming out or a societal sense of doing something wrong, and I wanted to have an expansive love story with women front and center, just in their fullness. So yeah, that's kind of how I ended up with these characters in this world.
The interesting part is that this film is for everybody, and somehow I feel like we can relate to these these characters. Even with Fred, sometimes you're in a relationship where just like you don't even know what's wrong with your partner, like what's wrong, I can't figure it out, maybe I need to bring someone in to help. There was everybody. You can somehow relate. We've been obsessed with someone at one point where we'll forgive and accept, but stay with me. That
Right.
was pretty spectacular.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a really exciting thing about the film is everyone can tap into it in some way, and it's been so rewarding to see the expansive differences in what is speaking to people. Like, you're the first person to say that about Fred, and I think it just goes to show that perspective is so, the lens that we're looking through based on who we are, what our experiences are, is so specific, and yet there's so much that we all understand as humans who interact with each other and can connect. There's a lot of ways to connect to the story.
Yeah, even Noah.
Yes. Yeah.
Everyone. With everybody somehow we have our story.
Yeah.
So for this film, can you talk a little bit about the cast, how it came about? You got a few of the cast members that are actually from New Orleans.
Yes, that was very important to me to have New Orleans actors at the forefront of this story that would, involve New Orleans in such a spiritual memory way, but not actually take place in New Orleans. So
Mm-hmm.
these two actors I met locally. I didn't have a big official casting process. For me, like the script writing and collaboration with actors all happened together.
Mm-hmm.
So the first person I really locked in was Idella, who kind of really helped me anchored this script and anchored, the relationship, literally. And she and I were meeting up and just talking, getting to know each other for quite a few months, before I even showed her anything that I had written. And that was sort of, the best thing when she read it and said, and really, really responded, to, what I was going for. And together we kept building and building. And then, yeah, Lane, Hannah Pepper, who plays Lane, I also met in the New Orleans community. And Hannah hadn't done much screen acting before, but I really loved their energy and just confidence. So, and that really rung true for who I thought Lane was. So yeah, I found them locally. And then Sivan, I actually knew from 3 or 4 years prior. We met at a film festival and had an ongoing relationship from afar. We kept in touch, and she's also a filmmaker. So we just decided we wanted to work together. And so I wrote this part for her. And then Lucien, who plays Fred, was the only person that I kind of had to go out and find. And he came to me through an acting coach in London. And I didn't have to look very far once he came along.
He was so perfect. I mean, in the script, and we got to see him like juggle French, Spanish.
Yeah, totally. And I mean,
Multicultural.
yes. I mean, like many of us are, right? We grow up speaking one language to mom and one language to dad. So the fact that that was the part of me that I really placed in Fred's character was just, yeah, kind of being a bit of a drifter in a way. And yeah.
I loved it. I was like paying attention. My French is kind of rusty, but I took lessons. And
Yeah.
I speak Spanish, so there's a lot of like
Yeah,
similarities.
exactly.
And then when he was on the scene where he's on the phone and suddenly he's speaking Spanish, like, why am I understanding everything he's saying? And I'm like, oh, it's Spanish.
That's funny.
I
Yeah,
love that.
yeah, totally cool. I'm glad you liked that.
I do. So what can you talk a little bit about directing the intimacy between women?
Sure. Let's see.
I loved it. It was very classy, nothing vulgar. It was just very it flowed so well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for me, I think that's honestly just, I have been intimate with women my whole life. So it's just for me, that's, it was like directing any other scene. We were really talking about, on the one hand, we did talk about, okay, here's an opportunity to showcase elements of a love scene between two women that, historically all these are still seen through a male lens. We haven't had a lot of queer women love scenes on screen that were actually directed by queer women. So we did talk about, what are some things that we want to put out there, and that was, that we haven't seen much of before. But really what we were talking about was just with any other scene, what's going on with these characters, where are they at with each other? What does this scene represent for everything that, they shared in the past? And this is the climactic moment of their most raw version of their intimacy taking place in a room where nobody's watching, you know. And I really wanted it to feel communicative, like they were talking to each other, and to reveal the level of trust that they used to have with each other. And I think that heightens the heartbreak, you know, that they no longer really have that trust, except for this one moment where they let go and revisit what they used to have. I think, yeah, the actors did such a wonderful job, you know. There was so much trust between the three of us before we even filmed that scene, that you know, everything was planned out, everything was very very much communicated beforehand. There was no improvisation at all. I really don't believe in that, especially when it comes to sex scenes at all. Like, I don't want actors to be improvising. So, and that allowed them to really be, you know, once they knew exactly what they were doing with their bodies, they could really, you know, let themselves sink into what's going on in the mind. And yeah, it was really beautiful.
It
Working
was a
on that
very
scene.
nice scene. The reason I ask, and I'm sorry if it's like an unusual question, is because sometimes the scenes between women, they make it look like it's almost porn. I feel like it doesn't flow, so it doesn't look natural. And
Right.
yours, it looked beautifully. I mean, you got to appreciate, you know, the anatomy and the chemistry in women. So
Definitely.
I enjoyed it. Now, quick question. You said you're like a hopelessly romantic. So the ending, was
Yeah,
that the original ending you had planned, or did you change it?
pretty much. Yeah. I mean, I am a romantic, but hopeless being the active word, right? Like, I'm very aware that it's not, that's the thing with love stories that have happy endings where people end up together, especially with queer love stories. Like, it's never, it's not that simple, you know? And I think the idea that we would capture because here's the thing about like relationship, this idea of marriage, right? And that polyamory tries to get away from, is that like your relationship begins with two people meeting and it ends with two people getting married and having babies, and like that's it, and that's the arc of your story. And I think there's just so much, while that is wonderful for, you know, many people, there's so much to deconstruct about how we think of relationships in terms of like it ending with marriage, or like that being how you end up. And so for me, you know, the story feeling like it's not, there is no happy ending, because I don't think there's ever an ending to a relationship, you know. Even if you break up or separate or move apart from each other, you know, whatever you had lingers in some way, and you carry it with you, and it informs how you move into your next relationships or the decisions you make in your life. And you know, I think it all, for me, it's all just an appreciation for expansiveness outside of, you know, start and finish.
I didn't
If
expect
that
that
makes sense.
ending. I didn't expect that ending, but it made sense. It made sense.
Yeah, you wanted Lane to stick around.
Yeah. I did.
Yeah,
I
well,
really liked her.
maybe she'll come back. But
I was
I
leaning
think,
towards him over Fred.
yeah,
Yeah, totally.
definitely.
And I look forward to seeing more projects of yours. I enjoyed your film.
Thank you, Nancy. Yeah, thanks for these great questions. It was good talking to you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
And you
I'm
take
glad you
care.
liked it. You
Of
too.
course I did. Thank you. Congratulations.